Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Lebo from GCTV. Today I'm with First Selectman Matt Hoey and Town Engineer Janice Plaziak. And
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Great.
And Janice?
Glad to be here for this.
Pleasure to see you again, and nice to meet you in person.
You too.
Now, big question or news on the community is the changing to the bagging payment programs at the Guilford-Madison transfer station. The new pay-as-you-throw pay-as-you-throw system replaces the previous $9 per 100-pound bag of trash. Can you explain the new system?
Sure. So currently we charge by the weight, and we would have people who are under 100 pounds. It would be a minimum $9 charge. If it was over 100 pounds, they'd have to go on the scale and pay per the weight. And in an effort to really reduce trash, we're going to this pay-as-you-throw system for the household trash. And what you do is you buy bags, prepaid bags, and the fee for depositing the trash is in the cost of the bag. And then you can come to the transfer station with your prepaid bags and just deposit your bag and go. You don't have to do any transaction at the transfer station. And it's an effort to really make people think about what they're putting in their bag to maximize what they can put in their bag and really think about the recycling things that shouldn't go in the bag. So that's, it's still, we think it's going to be fairer for people. People who produce less trash will probably end up saving some money because right now they're paying a minimum dollars, and one of our large bags is $3. So if someone can get away with one large 33-gallon bag a week, they could be, saving quite a bit of money depending on how they, how much trash they produce and how much they're able to recycle.
Great. Matt, this is really a reaction to an emerging crisis in the state and many states in terms of solid waste management. And getting rid of our garbage. A couple of things have happened over time. The trash to energy plant that's up in Hartford has recently closed. Most of the garbage that's being generated in Connecticut is being shipped to other countries for states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, etc., for landfills, because we no longer have landfills here in Connecticut. And it is not only emerging, it's here. The tipping cost to get rid of garbage from our waste transfer station. We've been fortunate that it's not been impacted by this crisis because we're in a longer term contract. But the anticipation is when that new contract comes up, our costs to dispose are going to rise probably by a margin of 50%. So that would take that $9 tipping fee and turn it into a $14, $13.5, $14 tipping fee. And as Janice said, this is also an effort to get materials out of the waste stream that don't belong there. If you can get people focusing on the fact that they need to, they need to pay for their bags, stuffing cardboard in there or aluminum or your cans and stuff, that's counterproductive because you can take those materials and recycle them.
Now, is this just prioritizing trash, or is there also going to be room for said recyclables like aluminum and cardboard, or is that a separate?
So recycling, single stream recycling at the transfer station is free. So, and it's the state law to recycle. So people are expected to separate out their single stream recycling. That's paper, cardboard, certain plastics, and aluminum cans. Those all should be going to the recycling bin and not going into the trash bag. So we're hopeful if people aren't aware of that, they're learning about that now. We have educators up at the transfer station trying to educate people about the changeover and, pointing out the recycling availability at the transfer station. We've also added food scrap collection bins at the transfer station. That was part of a grant that we had, and it's been very successful. And with the food scraps, it gives people another avenue to reduce the amount of trash that they're disposing of. We have, electronics recycling at the transfer station, scrap metal recycling, and aluminum recycling. So it's we're really trying to get people to think about, before I put it in that bag that's costing me money to throw away because it's a limited size bag that cost me $3, can I recycle this? And what are my options? So We're hopeful that it will increase recycling for people and reduce our trash, and hopefully for some people be a money saver as well. But we still have to cover our tipping fees. So the fee is already, it's been analyzed, and, that's the size bag at that cost that we have. We also have a smaller bag. It's a 15-gallon bag, and that's $1.50. So, if our tipping fees in the future go up, the cost of the bags will likely have to go up because, the cost of the bag is directly linked to the cost of tipping.
Okay.
I wanted to just make a quick comment. The $3 bag is a 33-gallon bag. That's the kind of bag that most people use to put their leaves in to take them composting. The typical household uses a 13-gallon. Those are classic kitchen container barrels. So, for instance, those are $1.50 a piece. I'll give you a quick synopsis in my house. It's my wife and I are living. It's just the two of us in the house. We don't have any children in the house, etc. We go through about one bag a week. All right, and one of the reasons we go through one bag a week is because we consistently recycle. And the second piece is we're doing the food waste, this food scrap diversion program, collecting our food scraps. That has taken, I'm going to estimate, about 30% of the weight out of our garbage bags. And so the issue here is if you're using one or two 13-gallon bags per week, that's $3 versus the $9 you were going to pay to take that garbage to the transfer station. Mm-hmm. And one other point I just want to make is there's been a lot of conversations about how did this happen? Why did we know about it? Well, this is something that the Transfer Station Advisory Committee has been working on for a year and a half, at least. The Advisory Committee it represents both Madison and Guilford. Volunteers serve on that. They make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen relative to the operation of the waste transfer station, as well as set the tipping fees. So this was fully vetted through a couple of programs, one of which was the food scrap diversion program trial that we did with DEP, and we're utilizing some of the same resources that were made available to us when we received a grant to do that trial program.
Neat. That answered another one of my questions is, how did this new system come into action? You explained it a bit, but can you go into a little bit more detail on where did the idea first come from and then the development process forward to execution?
I'm going to let Janice answer that one because she basically manages this process with the Transfer Station Advisory Group.
Right. So to back up, COG was looking for member towns to take advantage of some waste reduction grant monies through DEEP. And we joined in along with Madison to do the co-collection program, which was utilizing the haulers and separating out food scraps from your trash. And that program had some challenges because of lack of infrastructure in the state for co-collection separations and things like that. But we also, because we had the transfer station here in town, we got the food scrap bins as part of that original grant program. And we saw the use of the food scrap collection at the transfer station grow quite a bit from the beginning to, months into it, we were seeing 6,000 pounds per month being diverted of waste to food scrap collection. And so, that looked like a great thing. And then working with DEEP closely on the original grant, we were learning more about pay-as-you-throw programs and the way you can reduce, costs, reduce waste, and therefore reduce costs. So we explored that further, working with Connecticut DEEP and their consultant they had on board for the program, Waste Zero. And it just seemed like it was something that we should explore further because we were already a pay-as-you-throw program at the transfer station. Some towns, your transfer station is built into your taxes, and so you don't pay if you have your sticker because you're a resident and you don't pay. You just, go. Or they have, trash pickup in the town. Here we have, private haulers, or you use the transfer station, but you have to still pay. So we already had a sort of a pay-as-you-throw system, but we wanted to make it so it was more efficient in terms of really making people think about, reducing their trash. And so the bag program seemed like a great idea. But we wanted to make sure we vetted it. So working with DEEP and their consultants, the transfer station committee, who has representatives from both Madison and Guilford, went through the numbers. They did a deep analysis, financial analysis of our revenues and expenditures to really understand what would it be, what would the costs be to run a program like this, and how would we implement it. And so it seemed like it was a win-win, really, to be a little fairer in the way we charge our customers in the long run, and to try and reduce trash and increase recycling. So that kind of is how we landed here. They studied it. There were presentations made to both the Board of Selectmen in Guilford, the Board of Selectmen in Madison. It was well received. And then once it was well received by both boards, it was ultimately the recommendation of the committee to our Board of Selectmen here in Guilford, who has the authority and responsibility to make decisions for operations at the transfer station, to go to this program. And I think that was like early summer when that decision was made, and we moved forward with trying to get the program implemented, and put an RFP out, got a consultant on board to purchase the bags from and help us manage the program. And it ended up being Waste Zero, who was the consultant selected through the bid process, and here we are implementing. Yeah.
Janice mentioned something that I think is important to note, and she says it's a fairer way to do it because you actually are paying. You're closer to paying for the garbage you produce, because there are a lot of people who do not produce a lot of garbage, but they do have to get rid of it on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. So instead of that $9 with the 2 bags, I am paying. It's an equitable system because I'm now paying for the amount that I produce as opposed to a weight-based program.
And quick technical question is, what are done with the food scraps that you're getting more amounts of, and trying to encourage people to separate? Mm-hmm. What is going to be? Are they going to be used for compost in the town, or
no? So currently, we have a contract with Blue Earth, who's our hauler. They provide the bins, they pick up, and they bring the food scraps to Quantum Energy in Southington. And there they have a anaerobic digester, and they turn the food waste into energy. So it's actually it's a great, they create energy and feed it back into the grid in Southington. And then there's a solid component of the results of the anaerobic combustion activity, and that is compost. So they take that and they mix it with woody materials because it's a very strong compost. They have to mix it with other woody materials, organic materials, to create a usable compost. So yes, we get energy and we get compost out of the food scraps.
All right. And you explained a lot with the benefits of the new system being cost saving and more fair for people that produce different levels of garbage. What other benefits are expected from this new system besides price saving or cost saving on the community side?
Well, one thing I see, I have to operate the transfer station, as staff will be freed up from having to stand there and do that transaction at the side window. I don't know if you've ever been to the transfer station. But we have one person standing there doing that side transaction, which is, it's needed to collect the fee, but it's that person will now be freed up once we get everybody used to it and everybody's using their bags. That will only need to be monitored. It's not going to have to be, somebody, a transaction happening. So that person will be freed up to do other things in the station itself. And in the future, we may even see the benefit of needing less resources at the transfer station, so reducing our expenditures in terms of labor.
And this is another step in a process that the town has embarked on over the past several years to be more sustainable. Guilford is a state certified, silver certified with Sustainable Connecticut, because we are doing things like this. So this is yet another step in a process for us to continue to be more sustainable, sensitive to our environment, sensitive to the impacts that we are having on our ecology. And we think that this is another important step in many to help the greater community, not just Guilford.
And You mentioned proceeds are going to obviously cover employees of the transfer station, cover cost of the actual transferring of the trash from Guilford to other facilities. Is that where all the cost is going, or is it also feeding back into the town as well?
Now, the town actually subsidizes the operation of the waste transfer station. Those subsidies are split 50-50 with the town of Madison. So every year we allocate a budget to cover, anticipated tipping fees, salaries and benefits to the employees there, and some capital items perhaps. So, but typically that budget does not cover the cost, but that cost is not covered by the tipping fees alone, all right? Because the tipping fees have to cover the operation as well as the disposal. So there's a built-in margin on the tipping fees to cover these costs. So we try to be as accurate as we can when we budget for that, but invariably we're subsidizing it, and that subsidy is also split evenly between the two towns. So at the end of the year, our finance office talks to the finance office in Madison. They said, okay, and Madison also budgets 50% of the operating costs. And then there's a true-up done at the end of the year where both communities make the account whole.
Yeah, basically we've been budgeting about $85,000 per year from each town. The revenues from the transfer station are self-supporting to a point, but not entirely. So each town is contributing for some of the expenditures that the revenues don't cover.
All right. And obviously the most important question is, where can residents get these bags?
Right. So right now we're selling the bags at the transfer station for convenience, and because we don't have a lot of retailers on board yet. We're working on more, but currently we have it for sale at the transfer station. We're hoping to phase that out once we have a lot more retailers on board and once the program's running smoothly. And you can also buy them at Page Hardware here in Guilford. And then we also have Rings In, which is Tunx's Hardware in Madison. It has the bags currently. And we're working on some of our other local grocery stores and such to get them into there. It's taking a little longer. So it's as convenient as possible for our customers.
Right. We are currently working with some of the not large, but Big Y is a larger chain. There's a more corporate process to that than there is at Pages. So if anyone's out there listening, please make sure Big Y knows that you would like to have the opportunity to buy the bags when you buy your groceries. And then also, I believe there are conversations taking place with Robert's Food Center in North Guilford around the Rotary Circle. And if there are any Madison residents listening and utilize Roberts, they should also encourage management to participate in the program.
Yeah, and I want to say, it's a partnership with the retailers, and we appreciate them coming on board. It's not a win-win situation for them at the beginning because we are competing with them at the transfer station right now to try and have as smooth a rollout as possible. But eventually it'll be a service they can provide their regular customers and perhaps even get a little extra foot traffic into their stores. And it'll be for people who are looking for the bags and maybe purchase something else. So I think in the long run they'll see a benefit to having the bags in their stores to serve their customers and the residents of both towns.
I don't know if this is a question that you were intending to put to us, but there's been a lot of chatter about the fact that people have purchased coupons or tickets to the waste transfer station, in advance. Some may have, go in and stockpile and they buy, 20 of them or whatever it is. So there was a great concern to protect the investment that those individuals had already made. So we are going to honor anybody who comes in with a ticket as long as they can still have those tickets.
Yeah. So ticket holders can continue to use the tickets if that's how they prefer. We also had reach out from some people who were like, I don't really get my money's worth out of my tickets. So can I swap them for bags? At the transfer station, we're allowing ticket holders who, pre-purchased the tickets to come in and swap their tickets for bags if that's what they want to do, or they can continue to use their tickets until they're gone. So that's one little hiccup we had. I felt in the rollout is we had all these pre-purchased tickets out there and trying to really come up with a way that was fair to everyone. Some people are a little hesitant about switching over to the system. If they have their tickets, they can continue to do that. Others were wanted to jump on board and save the money with, if they only have one bag of trash a week, I don't want to use my $9 ticket. I want to get 3 bags for that. So we've been accommodating that this week. So see the folks at the transfer station. If you have tickets you want to trade in for bags.
There's one other thing that's garnered some concern or some chatter, and that's the fact that folks have garbage bags that they currently utilize, like the 13-gallon bags you keep your garbage in. There are a couple of workarounds around that. You can use them for a lot of other purposes in your house, or you can continue to use those and purchase a $3 bags and put those bags inside the other bags, so you're actually getting used to. You don't have to pay $1.50 for those. So you can fit pretty close to 3 full 13-gallon bags. I dare say that you never completely fill up a 13-gallon bag, so you probably get 3 of those into one of the $3 33-gallon bags. So there are some strategies to work through some of the what appear to be impediments or the impacts to some of our residents, and we're sensitive to that. We knew that there were going to be some concerns, and there very well may be winners and losers in terms of who saves money and who winds up paying more.
Well,
I'm sure members of the community definitely appreciate that for those that have large amounts of bags and the vouchers. Now, I see you brought some graphics as well.
Yeah, so we have these handouts both in both town halls as well as at the transfer station. We, as part of the program, we have a young lady who's up there at the window every day. She's been there for 2 weeks now, and she'll be there for 2 weeks following the kickoff, which is Monday, of using the bags. And we're handing out, we have a magnet that helps you understand what goes where in terms of recyclables, food scraps, and what goes in the blue bag. Another handout similarly tells you all the options for recycling and what goes where at the transfer station and what goes in your blue bag. And then this is a whole pamphlet that just goes through the costs, explains why we're doing the program. So, and again, identifies all your options for, recycling and keeping things out of the trash. So it's been a real effort to try and educate folks, and we'll continue to do so into the future. I do want to point out next week, we are going, the date is November 4th, which is Monday. And so, if people do show up without tickets or, not prepared with their bags, we're going to start enforcing the use of the bags. And that will mean instead of paying the $9 fee on Monday, you're going to go into the office and you're going to buy a bag and put whatever trash you have into that bag, and then you'll be allowed to deposit it. It's not in an effort to, we have to have a date, and the date is November 4th. And this will be, a learning experience. We're trying to certainly capture and catch everyone ahead of time with the outreach we've been doing, especially at the transfer station. But we don't, we expect people to show up not aware or having forgot, whatever the situation is. But that's, we'll kindly ask people to put whatever trash they have in the bag, because that'll be their form of paying the fee, and then they can move on and hopefully purchase more bags so the next time they're prepared.
So I'd like to do a little breaking news for you. You guys can help us because there was some information that came out in an article in the New Haven Register yesterday. It was a front page article on this program, and unfortunately there was a misrepresentation of the program because the article stated that people had to do food waste diversion. That is not the case. That is an optional program. I understand that the New Haven Register is going to print a retraction. And I haven't had a chance to check today, but I'm confident that they will. But for those who don't get to see that, and also for those who have never seen the article, and then they get the information on social media or through conversations with their neighbors, that is not the case. This food waste diversion is not mandatory. It is optional.
All right. Thank you so much. And for more information, where can residents go besides heading by the town hall or the transfer station?
We have uploaded information about the program on the website as well, the town's website, under the waste transfer station, so they can certainly go there. We've been getting stuff out onto social media.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you. It was great speaking to both of
Thank you.
You as well, Matt. Thank you.